Hey, can I plug this up?
We're good.
All right, here we are. Geneva College, Grove City kicks things off next week, and then those familiar names, Case Western, Teal, the season will be up and running. We're just going to get caught up with the coach. I'm headed to New Brighton to interview John McCouga. They ended a 2-year winless drought, beating Shenango. They've got Summit Academy tomorrow. I was at our alma mater yesterday with the principal and some great young teachers. What a vibe. It was nice to go back home.
It is. It's always nice to go back. It really is, and it's different. It's Johnny and we know Mark, his father, very well. The whole entire family texted him. Couldn't be happier for a guy and for a community. I mean, that was a rough 2.5 years there.
Yeah, what's happened really with some of those schools that we remember. Now tonight we have the Power of Bowser Friday night game that is Aliquippa hosting Belle Vernon, 2 state champs, a big football game, going to be starting in a couple of hours. But I think about New Brighton and Rochester and Beaver Falls and Hopewell when we were growing up. The mills were booming, the numbers were a little larger. Man, these schools have really shrunk as far as
Rob, I
numbers.
think if we look back and we look at the populations, the numbers were a lot bigger, even in what we want to admit. I mean, we're talking about a school in New Brighton that was built to be able to have 275 kids in a class.
That's what Joe Yorsita told me, because I said to him, now when I was in school, we were the second graduating class, 75. The fall, 50 years ago, 74, 24. I said, what do we have, like 5 or 6 in all 4 grades? He said, no, you have like 1,200. And that number is half of that now, maybe more like 400 or 500. So that's a big chunk of kids. So the question is, when it comes to numbers, what do you do as a football coach, right?
Well, it's even running a Division III program. I will tell you this, I mean, it's very difficult to run a Division III program if you don't have over 100 kids, 100 players participating in the program. Because you got to have a developmental team, you got to have a JV team to be able to get those kids experience. And just with college life and injuries in the game of football itself, if you look at the programs that are very, very successful, they've been able to do it and maintain their roster. So it is very difficult, and I give coaches, high school coaches, to me, the high school coach, that is the toughest coaching job in all of football.
So pretty much there's just a couple of days before you start the thing all over again. So you were having a meeting when I got here earlier today, and I was waiting in your office thinking, what do you talk about when you get to this point of it where it's like right on the doorstep and you've done everything, the 2-a-days, camp, all that stuff. Is it just hoping that everybody stays healthy to the starting line?
I think that's part of the journey. I think it's part of the climb. Whatever phrase we want to use, that coaches use. But when you embark on a season and you're looking at your team, you've got your coaching staff, it's something that as a staff and as a team, that you journey together. And, I'm grateful for the coaching staff that we have, grateful for the young men that we have. And we're on this journey together. And I know that it's very difficult for people outside of athletics or outside of football to understand what this means, but we face a lot of adversity together, and how we do it together, these are the things that build relationships for a lifetime. And this is the thing that being older as a coach, for me, and being obviously Geneva and being in a Christian college, and the philosophy that we have, the philosophy that I've adhered to for decades, we have got to do something for these young men that's going to reap a benefit for them after they leave here. Because otherwise, it's just a transactional type thing. Like, hey, I like you because you score touchdowns. I like you because, you can run or whatever. And that's not what life's about. Life's about being able, and the Christian walk's about being able to serve other people. And it's difficult. It's a difficult thing every day. We fight this. It's called fighting the good fight of faith. And it is difficult. And every one of us has we've got stuff. We do. We have stuff.
Right.
And just thank the Lord that He looked beyond my stuff and said, yeah, I'm going to send my son. And Christ came in flesh. I mean, just like we are right here. And He gave His life, never sinned, and knew that He was going to walk out of the grave. Rob, I can't get past that. That to me is the
That's what
greatest.
keeps you moving every day.
Oh, it's my life. It is. It is. That's the bedrock of the foundation. When everything starts going crazy, haywire, and you start hitting adversity, that is the bedrock of everything. Is
you can feel it on this campus too.
well, I mean, it's a quiet campus, whatever it is that you feel, but we still have stuff here in Geneva. I know, let's not get ourselves. Life. It's called life.
Well, I actually came here to do a video, but I really came here to get a little bit of R&R. I needed you today because it's been a rough couple of days, just a lot of running, a lot of things going on, a lot of social media stuff, doing a bunch of stuff, just traveling, trying to get from point A to point B. And life can get a little challenging at times.
Let me give you some encouragement here, okay?
Okay.
Because these things that you're doing, these videos, this to me is like, being on a college campus, we have incredible professors that are published. They write books, they write papers. That's what they do. That's the legacy that they're going to leave behind.
Right.
These videos of what you've done in this community, in this tri-state area, and how you got involved with the lives of people in this area. Rob, you don't understand it right now because you're so consumed with it, and I get that. But you're leaving a legacy of what you've done. And these people in this area, absolutely, they adore you. And for whatever reason, and it may be that you make them feel better.
Well,
it may be just that.
That's okay.
And that's okay.
But let me tell you what puts it in perspective. So, I love the grocery shop. And
Right.
In Coons Market, doing a bunch of stuff and pushing the grocery cart, getting a few things for home. And Labor Day weekend, picnics, and Coons Quality Foods now a big part of our high school broadcast. So happy to have them there. And thanks to everyone, including the CEO, our CEO, Jody Zeman, for everything you need for the Labor Day holiday. Go to Coons Market. We have one here in Hopewell. 8 locally owned, independently operated grocery stores in and around the area. Her father, who's been gone a year this month, he loved this whole high school thing, community thing. He loved the whole football thing, people going to the game, having something to eat after the game, grocery shopping, grilling for a holiday weekend. When you think of football, it really is kind of like a gathering of community, what we're doing with a Friday night game and what you do here at Reeves Stadium. And it really is all about bringing people together, right?
It really is. It's the joys of being in the small town, and let's just call it what it is. That atmosphere that this takes place in every small town, in this tri-state area, and we're sitting here in the Hall of Fame room, or we're sitting here in the trophy case, and I've had so many alums that just come back and they'll get a glimpse of something, and just and they'll remember that community. It's something that we desperately need. I really believe that God's not created us to be an island. And the one thing that we do when things get tough is we feel like we are the only person in the world going through a certain thing. And it's that time when it's the best thing to go and serve somebody who's going through something tougher than we are. And you do that.
How long have you been here now? What season number is it? I kind of lose track.
It's 32 as a head coach, played here. It's just...
So what's the difference in this mature man that you are, father of 4, a grandfather, incredible family, wife, all these years later, the difference between the curly-haired, wide-eyed coach who came here full of fire and brimstone to where you are today? Some of the big differences from then until now, is your personality-wise, how you approach things.
I don't know. In some ways, I still have that. I really do.
You do.
In some ways, I still got that, and it's difficult. Let's not kid ourselves. you know,
Chronologically, you may be older, but I think physically, mentally, you're stronger now than you were 30-some years ago.
Well, I mean, it's just called wisdom, I guess. But I think what happens when we're younger, we're on such a track to try to grasp what it is that what we are going to do in life, and we're so consumed by that. And then we get to a certain point where we realize that we're only on this earth for a certain time, and that you know, eternity awaits. And when you start seeing these generations come after us, and you start realizing that we have a responsibility, we got a responsibility to be able to invest into the generations that are here now, younger than us. I don't know. I don't know. It's just I still detest losing. I really do. It's just something that has become it's.
No,
Whenever you quit, whenever that happens, you got to get out. But there isn't anything like being in the coach's office. There's nothing like recruiting. There's nothing like having these ridiculous anxiety attacks before games.
Why are we still like that at this age? I mean,
I think
perfection. It's got to be right.
Oh yeah, and we'll never achieve it. We'll never achieve it. And I think that's the thing that I've come to grips with more and more, is that you win a Super Bowl, what's the first question they ask you? Can you win another one?
Right.
You know, why did Michael Jordan decide to go after another NBA title? I mean, he hit every goal on, if you want
How do
to
you
call
think he felt that he couldn't make it in baseball? Do you think that frustrated him?
Oh, I think he's one of these people that he was competing against himself. I mean, let's call it what it is.
I don't like being second
Yeah.
in anything.
No.
And that's terrible.
Well,
I mean, I need to face reality. So I'm cutting grass earlier today before I came to see you because, why not? It's 90 degrees, cut the grass. Right?
That's what you would do.
I'm in my jeans with no shirt, and I look up and I see my reflection in the glass of the front door, and it's like my dad.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, so he probably was a lot like me. He had the same fears and wants and needs and was driven. So it's good to be driven, but you have to get to a point in your life where you get comfortable in your own skin. But I don't think he ever was, and I probably won't be either. But I think that's what drives us all. It's what motivates us to get up and do what we do every day.
I know, and they're half the world's wired like that, and then half the world they are able to enjoy life and just smile. But I think the key to it all is just realizing that I was just grasping onto things so much that I realized when my priority list, believe it or not, was out of whack. My priority.
You got to put it in God's hands. You really do.
You have to.
I'm going to used to always say that.
Yeah, I mean, if we as football coaches truly believe that it's you know, faith, family, and then football. If we truly believe that, then
You know who another guy's a big man of faith, and I like Deion Sanders a lot. I mean,
yeah, so do I.
He, was talking about the game last night. His son threw 4 touchdown passes. He got a win, and they asked him about late in the game what was going through his mind. He goes, "I don't use profanity, but I thought about profanity."
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what? Just because someone's a Christian, it doesn't necessarily mean that they don't have the same moments that we all have. They just approach it a little bit differently.
I know. I mean, come on.
I mean,
I don't know what theology says that once you become a Christian, all of a sudden now you walk perfect and upright. I mean, I run from people who are like that. I really do. I mean, we're on this progression, you know, and you got to grow. You have to grow. Let's face it. And I think that this is an example. I'm hoping, but if you'd have saw me practice the other day, I was an absolute maniac. So
I get it.
it's just.
Before I go, can I just talk some football?
Yes, sir.
And we're not going to go into the whole X and O's, but what's your feel? I mean, it's always good, but you're feeling right now, getting ready for this opener against Rose City, and a good football team.
Well, I mean, we're looking at a team that's 10th in the nation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got a team after that that's ranked 24th in the nation. It's nothing new for us. It really isn't. For us, we're going to go and we're going to worry about and consume ourselves with what we do.
How about Aliquippa getting a new health and education facility going to be built next to Heinz Field? Pretty cool stuff. And the facilities here for the athletes who are maybe thinking about that next play, they're really, you got some nice facilities here too.
I think you're gonna see more of this happen. I mean, you see something out, out in Center Township.
Yeah, M7, Jim Christiana, Michelle
absolutely.
Complex.
And you're seeing something here, in Aliquippa. There's some discussion about what's gonna take place, like on this end of the valley. I've heard some things. I think all of that builds community support, and that's, this area desperately needs united leadership.
Right.
It desperately needs leadership, and it desperately needs somebody and people that will invest and do things like that.
Listen, M7's part of the high school broadcast doing KDK. You should see that facility. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I just like seeing progress.
We do.
Like I told him coming over here, the nice thing I saw in New Brighton today, the old barn house, which was a fan favorite, getting a nice facelift. Looks like something's going in that building, which has been empty for a while. So to me, anytime you see something like that, that means things are moving forward, and that's a good thing.
I will take that and I will use it as an analogy to what Christ does in our life. He does. I mean, it's either like, he's the one that's building us. He's the one that's making us new, and that is the hope of life. I mean, we serve the God of hope, and whenever there's days when chins on the ground, dragging around. I mean, bottom line.
Yeah, but we really have an incredible life, both.
We have an incredible life. God has us in the palm of His hand. You realize that? I mean, He has us in the palm of His hand. I mean, and I think the greatest line that I've heard in this whole football thing is we were playing somebody one week, and I was down at WVU talking with.
Are they going to finally get it together? Your old coach and Stockton?
I don't know. I mean,
the other team, Georgia Tech, started off nice.
Yeah, but I was down at WVU, and I was talking with the defensive coordinator. He is now retired, Jeff Castile, who was an amazing football coach. Won the Assistant Coach of the Year award. Got that program up with him and Rich. They were
Rodriguez.
Yeah, they were right there at the top. And I'm down there talking with him, and I'm on vacation, and I am absolutely petrified about who we're playing the next week. And he looks at me, and he just says, Gino, relax. It's just football. They can't eat you.
Yeah, I know. But
They can't eat you, Rob.
Speaking of Mr. Rodriguez, Pat DeMayo and him, that whole family connection. So, Allegheny Health Network, in conjunction with Highmark, a healthcare company, also part of the high school broadcast. I'm leaving it to the pros. They can handle it, but every Friday night we've got some great stuff planned. Thursday night, Quest for the Best, of course, Dan Zangrilli, Mike White, the best ever covering high school sports, the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. And then, of course, the games. Tonight, week 1, Aliquippa hosting Bell Vernon at Heinz Field. He will be at Grove City next week. And my alma mater, New Brighton, is going to take on Summit Academy on the road tomorrow. And we're headed now to Oak Hill to interview the first-year head coach, Johnny B. Good, as in Mr. McCougan, and so it goes. I just want a nap, okay? And by the way, all weekend on the radio too, beginning at 5 a.m. Gino DeMarco, God bless. Thank you, sir. I needed this.
Come over and see me.
All right. More to come. Stay with us.